Well, hello, Chris, back with another instalment in the caring series. This one's been away on leave from work, gallivanting, a lot of travelling, back into the daily grind today. Today being Wednesday, it's a Wednesday afternoon, and I'm just off to do a sitting service with a couple who I have not seen for the best part of a couple of weeks or so now. But today I will crack on with some of the funnier things and the characters that I've met down the years. Now I've got a little list here of things that have come to mind with the various clients. Quite a lot of characters here. I will continue writing these down, but there's so many here that come to mind. I'll have to write a book one day. Trying to not say all the time. But there was a character that I used to see who lived in a residential home. He wasn't a client of mine, but I got to know him extremely well. And he had been discharged from hospital without any information about the catheter they had fitted him. And so we had a little quick word when he saw me. Not long after he was discharged, probably a day, 2 days after. Can I have a word, Chris? Yeah. What's the problem? Got this catheter, no one's told me anything about it. So this is an instance of carers going the extra mile, even if you're not, if they're not one of your clients. I went up to his room in the residential place, and as I say, we knew each other very well. And I explained everything from the simple things to the more detailed things to him in words of one syllable or less. And bless his heart, he insisted that he gave me a bottle of wine. He was most chuffed that someone had taken the time, I think it was a half an hour or so, to go through everything with him, getting him to do things as well, and all his anxieties and anticipation of this is going to be quite a thing to get used to in the future, they were dispelled quite a way. He was quite a character. I hadn't seen him for a while at the residential place, and I walked in and there he was coming up from the dining room area, as I recall. Hello, Chris. Hello, so-and-so, not seen you for a while. And we got engaged in conversation. Now, he had moved away from where he was born and bred in Lancashire, and he'd been down in these parts for quite a number of years. Hang on, the camera's moved. Let me move that back. You can probably see all of me now. But he never lost that accent. But we got engaged in conversation, and he broke wind, but did not miss a beat, just carried on chatting away. And the conversation continued, and again he broke wind rather loudly. Didn't miss a beat again. Yak, 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 yak. Conversation continued, and he broke wind rather loudly again. And he said to me, without breaking a beat as well, "Did you get that one, Chris?" I said, "Yes. I also got the other two." And we just collapsed in laughter. He was in his 90s at the time, but it just proves the point that you never lose that sense of humour if you've got it about you down the years. We were great friends. He was a lovely, lovely, kind man, very generous in the residential home and with his friends. I say, a proper diamond. So I'll remember him with fondness, wherever he may be today. I do know he's since passed on. We had, let's have a little look. Okay, yeah. Phone fielding. When you're with clients, as we are in the community, they are as apt as anyone else is to get junk phone calls or scams. Now, there are still a small number of people who are as green behind the ear rolls as you would not believe, and they will fall for these. I had a chap who fell for a scam from all the way in the United States, pretending to be the United States, saying that there was problems with his computer. Now, he was a computer whiz kid as well, but he fell for it, and it wasn't until a week afterwards that he suddenly realised what a clot he'd been. It can happen to anyone, as we all know. You just fall for the pattern, the script and everything else. He lost $50, but it was $50 well spent as far as he was concerned, because he learnt his lesson. There was another chap I used to see, again in his over mid-90s, who had a wonderful way of dealing with junk phone calls. He would let them carry on with their scripts, saying yes, no, in the right places, and string them along. So when it came to the final punchline, would you be interested, let's say, in having your windows replaced or your roof retiled? He would say, well, I'll have to see my landlord about that, which wouldn't be true because he owned the place. And I say I'll be in his presence when he's fielded them this way. But the thing he would say is, now, don't forget this. Don't forget, Christmas is coming soon. Eat plenty of onions. And he put the phone down. There's been clients who've had computer issues when they've not had a computer in the house, and they will do the same thing. They'll string the caller along and then let them down and put the phone down. I know I used to get a lot of fun out of stringing people along with junk phone calls when we had an embroidery business all those years ago, and I would string them along myself. And one caller got irate when he got to the punchline, would you be interested in so and so and such and such, when I said no. And the caller got irate with me, and he said, well, why do you string me along for so long? We've been on the phone for 15 or 20 minutes. And I just said to them, well, it seems to me that you're new to this sort of business, and reading your script as you were, you need a lot more practice, and put the phone down. Well, that's enough about me. There's another one here, interesting people. Yeah, Rodney. I can say Rodney because he's no longer a client of us, and he went up to the city to live, to be closer with his friends and family. Interesting chap. Used to work in graphic design for the BBC and ITV as a freelance. ITV, well, Thames TV wanted to take him on as part of their wage staff, but he refused. He designed sets for Thames TV and BBC, and also provided the minutiae for shows, be it crockery with logos on. He worked with Kenny Everett, Bruce Forsyth. Very interesting chap who kept a log of all he did. And I said to him, you'll have to publish this one day. It's just fascinating what you've done for these people and who you've known down the years. Seconded by NASA, as he was a model maker for 9 months in the 60s. I may have spoken of him before. He was a lovely character. There was a chap I used to see who was Glaswegian by birth, lived in London from a very early age, shall we say late teens, early 20s. He was in his 70s when I got to know him, a very difficult character. He used to work for the Krays, and you can imagine the situations in the world that he lived in. Difficult character, but I never gave up on him. He used to go through strings of carers like a dose of salts, but I never gave up on him. He knew Ronnie and Reggie Kray. It was almost like a henchman for them in a way. And of course he knew the other family gangs in London, where he say he worked, if you can call it work. But he had a drink. Now I can never get Ronnie and Reggie clear in my mind, but let's say it was Reggie who was the bit of a nutter. Well, he was having a quiet drink with Ronnie in a pub, and as I say, they knew each other fairly well, and he said to Ronnie, he said, "I think your brother Reggie's crackers." And Ronnie said to him, "Well, all right, but don't tell anyone, will you?" Little gems of stories like that. There's a few more I could tell about him, which I may do in future episodes. But a difficult character he was. Never lost his Scottish accent, his Glaswegian accent. Tall, big gentleman. But he didn't frighten me. And as soon as he realised that I wasn't going to give up on him, we became kind of friends, but there was always that barrier with him. But anyway, I'll end this here, otherwise this will be a rather long video, and it takes a heck of a long time for these videos to be processed and edited. So I will move on. Sorry it's been such a long time between then and now, the previous video. Anyway, if you like this sort of thing, the only word is hype. Share, like, subscribe, and I will see you for the next one, which I may get back into nuts and bolts of caring. All of my clients, as far as I'm aware, are fine, and this one is having a little bit of a quiet time with it all as far as work is concerned. Plenty of spare days, which I don't mind, seeing as I'm only supposed to be doing 16 hours a week anyway. But anyway, that's enough of me. Till next time, take care, see you soon, and bye for now.